I'm Cliff Chapman, Executive Director for the Central Indiana Land Trust. And I'm here at Oliver's Woods in the city of Indianapolis talking about backyard birds and the upcoming great backyard bird count. So it's obviously cold this time of year, but it's a great time to offer some food in your backyard to help feed the birds. The main thing that I think about with backyard birds isn't so much of how we're helping wild birds, but how we can bring them to our backyard so we can see and enjoy them. They're just truly gorgeous. And it's pretty inexpensive. It can be pretty easy. If you wanted to, you could spend a fair amount of money and get a really nice setup with different feeders that offer different types of food. Or you could do like we did here and just put some bird seed out. And like I have here in my hand with just some peanuts and sunflower seeds and actually a couple different kinds of sunflower seeds. I mean, if you put it out, birds will find it. So with birds that you might see come to your backyard, a lot of times it's feast or famine. There'll be times when there's no birds at all, and then your bird feeders or the bird seed you put out, it might seem like there's just a whole flock of birds hitting it all at once with mixed species. And that's exactly what it is. In the wintertime, birds that would not necessarily associate with each other that much during the summer, maybe when they're breeding and raising young, actually do come together in these mixed species kind of cadres of birds through the winter. And the reason why is that they're not really competing against each other because of the different foods that they eat, but they can help each other look out for predators. One of the other things that these birds do in the winter is when one of them does find some food, but they're out kind of looking for food sources, they alert the others to let them know. And so that's why you might put fresh seed out and nothing will come for a while, and then they all kind of come. And the birds you might expect in a group like that include Carolina chickadee, white-breasted nuthatch, maybe red-bellied woodpecker, downy woodpecker, Carolina wren, tufted titmouse. These birds will often kind of be in a flock together, foraging through a forest or in some cases maybe a neighborhood, and find your backyard. Some other interesting things happen in the winter where birds that you might not see in your backyard, like eastern bluebirds, they flock together in the winter, just eastern bluebirds together. And they're out looking for food, and they'll, especially if you put out, say, mealworms or suet, they'll find it in your backyard, and you can have eastern bluebirds, maybe 5 or 6 eastern bluebirds at a time, coming to your feeders in the backyard. And that's something you really might not be able to experience in the summer. Another interesting phenomenon in the winter is goldfinches, American goldfinches. They have a very small migration, but the birds that we might have, say here at Oliver's Woods in Marion County, are probably somewhere in Kentucky right now. They've moved southward as birds from the north have moved here. So this is their warm winter, which doesn't feel very warm to me right now. But for goldfinches up in Michigan, this isn't so bad. Really what migration is all about. It's not so much about temperature as it's about food. And so for birds like warblers that we have here in the summer during the breeding season, well, there's not a lot of bugs to eat in Indiana right now, so they're down in the tropics. And then they'll be back here in the spring. For goldfinches that are looking for seed, well, where the goldfinches that we have here this time of year, there might be 5 feet of snow right now, and so not a lot of food availability for them. And as they move south, that creates more competition for the same amount of food that we have here, so it kind of pushes each population further south. So another interesting thing that sometimes happens if you have quite a few birds that are coming to your backyard and with frequency, is sometimes it'll attract predators like Cooper's hawks. Cooper's hawks are bird predators, and so I've had people ask, like, well, would you shoo away a Cooper's hawk? And my answer is no. I think that's part of what we're trying to do, is provide food for birds in the winter. And sometimes we see a Cooper's hawk in the backyard, and sometimes later we might even see some feathers down below the bird feeders. And if that might not sound so good to some people, I think that is part of the circle of life, and the Cooper's hawk needs to eat too. So citizen science is really important to us in the scientific community for us to have a good understanding of population trends. And the Great Backyard Bird Count is important, and the information that's gathered is important, because if you take the number of people that are making observations and the number of hours each of them are putting in, and then there's some kind of averaging of this different amount of skills that everybody has across the country, then if you can have trends of winter populations in different parts of the country for Carolina chickadee or tufted titmouse. And even if you say, oh, well, I see cardinals all the time in my backyard, if with citizen science of actually documenting what's seen about the same time of year every year, there can be trends if cardinals are doing better or cardinals are doing worse, and then that can inform scientists, and then kind of practical scientists like we are at the Central Indiana Land Trust, to start thinking about things that we might be able to do in conservation to reverse negative trends. So I just wanted to thank you for watching this, and encourage you to participate in the Great Backyard Bird Count.